What up? What up? What up? What up, y'all? Welcome to the final quarterfinal of the SWAC tournament. Quarterfinal number 4 recap. Bethune-Cookman defeats Southern University 73-58. Very, we're not even gonna, like I say, man. I did 3 of these already. Y'all done got all the intros. Just make sure y'all subscribe to the channel and like the video. And get ready for another one of these coming tomorrow. I'm only gonna drop one tomorrow, and that's gonna be after both semifinals are over. My schedule has been changed for me, so I'm gonna have to drop one video tomorrow uh, evening after the last semifinal, and then I have a video Saturday after the championship game Saturday night. So um, first and foremost, Bethune-Cookman, man, they played a great game. They really basically controlled this game from start to finish. Southern had a little bit of momentum, but they never could get anything going offensively. Southern offense just was not good. I'm gonna talk about that a little bit after the recap. But Bethune-Cookman scorching hot on the night, shot 51% from the field, 24-47, 40% from the 3-point line, 4 or 10. It felt like they made more threes than only 4, but they made some big threes. And 80% from the free throw line, 20 or 26. Again, it felt like they made more free throws than that. When a team just doesn't miss much, it makes it seem like they are shooting way more than they are. And with the pace of the game being so slow, it made every possession that much more valuable. And it made a shot, it made a made basket mean that much more. And Bethune-Cookman used a big second half to basically pull away in this game. They led by 2 at the half, and outscored Southern by 13 in the second half to by 15, 73-58. Deshaun Dyson led the way with 20 points for Bethune-Cookman. He was 7 of 18 from the field, 3 of 5 from 3, 3 of 4 from the line. Had 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 steals on the night. Also, Jacoby Hetty had 10 points on the night. He was 4 of 10, 0 for 2 from 3, and 2 for 2 from the line. Other than that, Reggie Ward had 9 points. Carter Hollinger had 14 points off the bench. And he also had 5 rebounds as well. Zion Harmon played a good bit in the second half, and late first half he recovered from a foot injury. So it's going to be interesting to see how he responds, having to turn around and play early. Well, play the early game tomorrow at 2:00. If he's going to be able to be a factor in that game against Grambling. But Bethune-Cookman, like I said, really solid night shooting. They finished the night with 31 rebounds, 10 assists, 5 steals, 1 block, and 11 turnovers. Southern, on the other hand, was ice cold all night. Never ever got anything going offensively. Only 17 of 48 from the field, shooting 34% on the night. 2 of 18 from 3, 11%. They did not make a 3 in the second half at all. 71% from the free throw line, 22 of 31. They were led by Tajane Dumase with 17 points. He also had 4 rebounds on the night. Only 1 assist. Southern only had 5 assists on the night, but when you make 17 buckets, you're not gonna get a lot of assists. And Southern offense, you need the ball to be moving, and it moved, but it didn't go in. They finished the night with 30 rebounds, 5 assists, like I said, 5 steals, 2 blocks, and 13 turnovers. The main difference in this game was shooting. Bethune-Cookman was hot all night. Southern was cold all night. And if it wasn't for free throws, Southern would have gotten blown out in this game even earlier because they just offensively just never had any rhythm. Bethune-Cookman continues to have Southern's number. That's three games, a 3-game sweep this season, plus 1 victory last year, meaning they've beaten Southern 4 times in a row. 4 out of the last 5. Um, 5 out of the last 7. So they've owned this series against Southern since they joined the SWAC. Southern had a tough time with Bethune-Cookman just any year, and this year was another 3-game sweep. This is Southern's third 3-game sweep in the last 3 years in the SWAC tournament. First 2022 it was Grambling, beat them 3 times. Last year was Alabama A&M, beat them 3 times. This year is Bethune-Cookman, beat them 3 times. We're gonna get back to Southern in a minute. I want to talk about Bethune-Cookman a little bit more. I thought they played a solid game. You know, they had some bad fouls. They ended up with a couple guys with 4 fouls. They had 3 guys finish with 4 fouls, but they managed to do whatever they needed to do. They got the extra pass. They got the 50-50 balls. You know, they made the big shots when they needed to. They were able to start to get to the basket and make layups late in the game. They knocked down their free throws. This pace of the game is not the style of ball they like to play, but they still made the most of every possession that they had. You know, when you play a slower pace, you have to value possessions, and they did. I mean, like I said, only 11 turnovers, so they didn't really turn the ball over a lot. They didn't really miss a lot of shots, and when they did, they got rebounds and they were able to get to the basket. Finished the night with 6 offensive rebounds. One of the only statistics Southern won was offensive rebounding with 11, which is something they don't typically do. But this sets up an interesting matchup with Grambling. Grambling won both games against Bethune-Cookman this season, pretty comfortably in both. So with Zion Harmon being kind of banged up and Carter Hollinger seemed like he was kind of gimpy on one of his legs during this game. Bethune-Cookman was going to have to, really get themselves back on track right away. They still have weapons, so if Harmon can't go as long, he can't play a lot of minutes. You still have Dyson who can score. Hetty's a 15-point per game scorer, so they're not bad off in that aspect. I mean, Ward can score, like Carter Hollinger can score off the bench. Dorsey, he can score off the bench. They have a few guys that can score off the bench. So they're in that aspect they're okay, but I don't think they match up well with Grambling. That'll be another game that's not the style of ball they want to play, but Grambling's not gonna give you easy baskets. Grambling's not gonna miss a lot of shots. So what you did tonight is gonna be a little bit tougher, but I do think Bethune-Cookman has a chance in that game tomorrow. They're a tough team, and they are a team that I've been high on all season. And I said that they could be a dark horse, and they can still be that. If they can get past Grambling, they got a good chance of winning this tournament. They pick up their first SWAC tournament victory since they've been in the SWAC, so that's a good thing. And they played the ball that they needed to do. They hit the shots they needed to hit, and they picked up the win. So I want to take a couple minutes to talk about Southern, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because it's not really that big of a thing. But I took a few minutes yesterday to talk about Alabama State and their offensive woes. So it's only fair that I talk about Southern. Southern's offense, the last 7 games, they've scored below 60 points 5 of those 7 games. That's counting tonight. You cannot beat anybody in this conference scoring less than 60 points a game. You won one of those 5 games against FAMU, who didn't score but 44 in that game. The offense these last 5 games or so has just fallen completely off the cliff. The threes aren't really falling. They're not making a lot of shots. Of course, free throws have been an issue for Southern. Whatever magic they had on that 7-game winning streak totally dissipated once they lost to TSU. People figured them out. I think, the pace of ball that Southern's been playing these last few weeks has been extremely slow. Even tonight when they got down by 13, they still didn't speed up the tempo. Southern earlier in the season was not a slow-paced team. They still were a team who probably wanted to score in the mid 60s, but they wouldn't mind getting to 70, 75. I mean, they only scored 80 points like once or twice this season. So they're not a team that's gonna in conference play. They're not a team that's gonna score a lot of points, and that's okay. But when you play that style of ball, you have to make your shots. If you don't make your shots, then you set yourself up for defeat. And if your opponent is shooting hot, then you really set yourself up for a loss. Um, I thought they played fairly well defensively for most of the game. I thought they went away from the pressure that they were using. Um, they just have to find something. I'm not really gonna make a big issue because this is Coach Johnson's first year. This team is a hodgepodge type of team. So I'm gonna see how they do next season before I start to really go in because you know the team was picked to finish fifth, and basically they finished fourth in the regular season. So it's kind of an improvement, but that late season swoon that Southern's had is continuing this season. That kind of stuff has to come to an end if you want to be successful in this conference. Um, so ultimately, Southern's going to have to get them some shooters that can consistently knock down shots. I don't think that your top scorer should only take 8 shots in a game. Um, that's not that's not that should not happen at all. Especially in a game that was tight for a good stretch of the game. You know, they have to, certain guys got more minutes than I thought they should have. A couple guys who are nice guys off the bench played to me too many minutes and didn't really contribute much to the offensive game plan. So it's got to be something to be fixed, but that doesn't take away from what Bethune-Cookman did. But I still, they caused some of the issue with Southern, but Southern's been shooting like this the last 3 or 4 games. So they slumped at the wrong time. And I have a saying. I'm quite sure I'm not the one who created a saying, but I believe in it. Tournaments expose you for what you are. It might not come in your first game. It might not come in your second game. It might come in the championship game. It might come in the NCAA tournament or the NIT or whatever. But who you are always gets found out in a tournament. If you can't shoot well, it's gonna come out at some point. If you can't defend, it's gonna come out at some point. If you're sloppy with the ball, you're gonna have a game like that, and it's gonna cost you. And that's what happened to Southern. The offensive woes finally caught up to them in a bad way. That Alabama A&M game Saturday, Southern didn't shoot well, but they didn't either. So it was kind of just like one of those games where the team just kind of felt their way through the game. This was a team who played a hot shooting team and could not keep up. So that style of ball, I don't know if that's by necessity because he doesn't have the guys that he needs. That's going to be the style of ball that he plays. But that style of ball asks so much more from your guys than more of an open, free-flowing, high-paced offense. You can miss shots in a high-paced offense because you're going to get more shots. In this kind of offense, you're not going to get a lot of shots. So you have to make more shots. Every possession is valuable. And, if you're going to play like that, then you need to make those shots happen. Southern has been a team that primarily moved the ball well this season, and they did to an extent, but they just did not get those shots to fall. So, there's not a lot to fuss about in this game. When you lose by 15, it's not too much to fuss about. So, just back to the drawing board for Southern. Bethune-Cookman moves on. They play Grambling tomorrow at 2 o'clock. The 8:30 semifinal. Texas Southern and Alabama A&M. 2 good semifinals. And it still looks like my championship game prediction is going to come true. Obviously these games got to be played, but I still have a chance of getting my championship game prediction right and my champion right. You see that G on the wall back there. That's still my predicted champ. And that's that. So with that being said, man, I'm your tour guide around the SWAC Seawells, and I'm signing up out of here. One other thing before I get out of here. I haven't, I'm not really diving into women's basketball. I'm leaving that to some people who are doing a lot better job of covering that than me. But shout out to Alabama A&M Lady Bulldogs. They played a hell of a second half against Pine Bluff, coming back from 23 down to take the lead. Pine Bluff made some big shots and big free throws down the stretch. But salute to Alabama A&M for fighting and never giving up. That's what tournaments are about. And when your back is against the wall, you just come out swinging and see what happens. So salute to them, and salute to Pine Bluff for weathering that storm and getting the dub. So just wanted to shout them out there. And like I said, we'll be back tomorrow with our recap of both semifinals tomorrow night after the 8:30 game. So with that being said, I'm your tour guide around the SWAC signing out, and I'm gonna catch y'all on the rebound. Peace.